Hi, this is Richard Chamberlain, and welcome to episode 3 of the Protecting Your Family's Future podcast. Estate planning is really all about making plans for the future. It's about making plans for if you become incapacitated or when you pass away. And a good estate plan, which we define as an estate plan that meets your needs and your goals for yourself and your family, that's going to require an understanding of the issues involved, the tools available, and the different processes associated with estate planning and estate administration. Now, last week we talked briefly about the 5 most important documents in estate planning. And if you haven't listened to that episode, I'd encourage you to do that so you have a better foundation of what we're talking about in this podcast. This week we're going to talk about probate. You can't really make a good estate plan without understanding what probate is and how it works. So let's dive in. At its most basic level, probate is a court process for administering someone's property when they're not able to do so for themselves. And there are basically 2 types of probate proceedings. The first is a guardianship, and the other is an estate administration. Now, you are probably familiar with both those terms, but let's dive in a little bit deeper. Guardianship is when a person is living, but either they're not able to manage their own person, or they're not able to manage their own property and financial affairs. So we have a guardianship of the person, and that's where someone is not able to make decisions about themselves, where they live, what medical treatment they'll have, or we have a guardianship of the estate, and that's where someone is given authority to manage the property or the assets of a person. So you need a guardianship if a person does not have the right estate planning documents in place. We talked about a couple of those last week. One being a power of attorney, a general power of attorney, which would avoid the need for a guardianship of the estate, and a healthcare power of attorney, which avoids the need for a guardianship of the person. The other kind of probate proceeding is an estate administration, and that's what is needed if someone owns an asset when they die and there's not already somebody who has the authority to do something with that asset. So for example, if a person owns a house and they die, well, somebody needs to be able to do something with that house. Someone needs to sell it or transfer it to the next owner. And only the person who is legally authorized to do that can do anything with the house. If there's a joint owner on the house, or we can talk about bank accounts. If there's a joint owner of a bank account, then the surviving owner can do whatever it is they need or want to do. But if there's not, if that's just solely owned, then no one has the legal authority to sell the house or access the bank account. So what has to happen is someone needs to be given the legal authority to do something with that asset or those assets, and that person is given that legal authority through the court, in this case the probate court. They're given the authority, they're appointed either the executor if there's a will, or the administrator of the estate if there's not a will. So that's essentially what probate is about, giving someone the authority to do something with someone else's assets. If they're living, it's called a guardianship. If they have passed away, it's called an estate administration. Now, in our next episodes, we're going to be talking more in detail about what probate does, how it works, different options, issues with probate. So I hope you'll join us for those. And I hope today was helpful for you. And I thank you for listening.